Hello, this is Jerk Piscatello from Learn AU. A question that comes up over and over again is how do we make sure that our students are not using AI to cheat on their assignments? Ever since the December of 2022, students have had access to ChatGPT and then Claude and then Bard, which became Gemini, and then Bing, which became Copilot, all these name changes and all these new products and all those products that use those products like Poe. And we fear that the students will just feed our assignment into ChatGPT and assignment done, they'll hand it in. But luckily, it's kind of obvious sometimes. It lacks voice. It uses words like delve and moor over too much. It tends to be fluffy, doesn't use resources correctly, sounds robotic. But let's think about writing better assignments. So in this one burning question, we will answer, how do we prevent students from using AI to cheat? And maybe in the future, we could talk about using AI correctly as an assistant. But this one burning question, we will dive into creating AI-resistant assignments. We should consider developing AI-resistant learning experiences by capitalizing on the fact that generative AI produces content quickly. It's unable to replicate the nuance of thinking and creativity. In this one burning question, we'll go over 5 different types of assignments, and you can get creative with this too. The first one is the personal reflection on content. When we have students personally reflect on the content that we provide, these exercises require a unique individual insight and experiences that only the student can provide, which cannot be replicated by Gen AI. So the example here is explore cognitive dissonance in personal decision making. So this assignment, we ask students to explore how the psychological theory of cognitive dissonance relates to their decision-making process in real-life scenarios. We'll have them analyze their experience, and we give steps. We give instructions, requirements, all the details to make sure that they're the ones that are providing this information. But all of this is a reflection on their understanding, their personal understanding, where they have to give personal stories and evidence, which is not something that generative AI does very well. The next type would be personal reflections on a process. So this assignment, we ask students to reflect on their personal engagement with their assigned group and evaluate how effectively the group collaborated to complete a given task. So here, generative AI really couldn't do this because, again, we're focusing on the student's experience, and that can't be replicated well through the use of Gen AI. The third type of assignment would be a critical analysis. We want to develop assignments that require contextual understanding and critical analysis areas where Gen AI cannot replicate the unique human perspective. Here, they're taking a piece from Shakespeare's play and analyzing it. And here you can see there's a process using multiple drafts and refining their understanding of this Shakespeare piece. Through that, you get multiple samples of their work. You know where their work is coming from. You know their voice in their writing. So we get multiple drafts, and we're able to evaluate the student in their voice as they critique this work, which generative AI doesn't do a great job of. The fourth would be any kind of creative project. So like I mentioned before, generative AI is not great with creativity. In this assignment, students will put together a podcast. There is no way they're going to be able to replicate a podcast episode. In this specific podcast episode, it explores the aspects of how social media impacts communication. And they can talk about this. They can script it. They can show the process. They can show us all the steps in creating this podcast. And of course, giving us the final podcast, and you know their voice and all the things that are entailed. And let me take a step back. They might use AI for some pieces of this, but they're the ones that are delivering this final presentation via podcast, and they have to present this stuff with a deep understanding of the content that they are delivering. And the final, Module 5 here, a practical application of real-world relevance. So here the assignment is develop a marketing strategy for a new sustainable product. So here they are doing a real-world project that a marketing student would do in their career later on. And here is all of the steps. For this type of assignment, these tasks involve active participation and personalized approach to a problem. Their creativity, their personal approach will shine here in a way that generative AI cannot. With every technological advance, we always run into trouble. And whether it's people that decide to be lazy or people that find those little shortcuts to make life a little better or anything in between. It's the students and it's us. And I think over time, COVID exposed maybe a little bit of laziness on our part, where we truly should have created better assignments. We really should have created assignments that focuses on student skills that they could use in the workplace, that would refine their creative skills, would refine their critical thinking. So I'm gonna have a part 2-ish of this where we look at how do we prepare our students to use generative AI in the right way, opposed to try to hide it as something scary that will replace our jobs, replace them, and eliminate the entire workforce. So if you do want help in creating dynamic assignments that is AI resistant, please reach out to LearnAU. We're happy to help.